welcome to Murphy's Garden, and you join us today at the Chelsea Flower Show. The RHS Chelsea Flower Show is the most prestigious gardening event of the year, certainly in Britain, if not the world. It's a great opportunity to see new plants, new products, and lots of wonderful show gardens to give you lots of inspiration for your own garden. It's the catwalk equivalent of the gardening world. This video is just an account of our wonderful day out at the Chelsea Flower Show. Hope you enjoy it. We headed down Eastern Avenue lined with these London plane trees, and on either side there are lots of stalls selling beautiful, beautiful things. We came to Dahlia Beach, which is a company down in South Oxfordshire which has a dahlia farm, and Olivia had her photo taken with Andy, the owner of the business. There's lots of arts and crafts on either side, and each one is just set up beautifully, displaying all their wonderful goods. And it's like a show garden in themselves, each one. It's just done absolutely just stunning. So there was lots to see, lots to look at, and if you've got plenty of money, lots of nice things to buy. Some of the little shops had various pots and containers, and they were really inspirational, lovely container layouts, really lovely. So we left Eastern Avenue and headed to Main Avenue, and that's where all the show gardens are, and we spotted the BBC. They were doing some filming for the BBC coverage, and this was Monty Don and Chris Beardshaw. Chris Beardshaw has designed the RNLI garden. We spent quite a long time just trying to get some good shots of Chris and Monty. The garden designed by Chris Beardshaw was quite a classical garden full of very rich planting and large statement trees, and it got a gold, which it thoroughly deserved. We then spotted Sue Biggs, the Director General of the RHS. We then headed into the big iconic Great Pavilion, and the first thing that we were hit by was this fabulous smell, and it was coming from here, the lilies. The lilies just looked amazing and smelt amazing too. There are more than 60 outstanding nurseries exhibiting seasonal plants and flowers in the Great Pavilion, and many of them choose to launch new selections at the show, so it's a great opportunity to be the first to see exquisite new cultivars as they come to market, and they are in their peak of their condition, looking absolutely beautiful for Chelsea. There are certainly no slugs on these hostas. All the plants in the Great Pavilion are bred to be reaching the peak of their perfection just in time for the show. All plant nurseries and floral exhibitors have the chance to win awards and medals at the show. The RHS medals are given to horticultural exhibits as a mark of excellence. In the Great Pavilion there are also some show gardens, and this was one of my favourites. It was by a company called Hairspring Cottage Plants. They specialise in Camasias and complementary hardy plants, and this garden was just set up beautifully. Here we've got a nice vegetable patch, but they also had just stunning floral planting. It was lovely to see Camasias being promoted at the Chelsea Flower Show, having done a video on Camasias in our own garden, and this was Camasia leclinii, white ones similar to our own garden, and the combination of plants that they were growing them with was just exquisite. I just love the colour tones. Here we had some Thylictrum and some Brunnera, and this little Astrantia was called Midnight Owl. It was lovely. It had pink with yellow undertones, absolutely beautiful. And then at the front here, this was, I didn't know what this was, but it turned out to be a little rhododendron, I guess an alpine one. It was stunning, really lovely. And another beautiful garden, this time from the Botanic Nursery, which holds some of the national collection of foxgloves or digitalis. And here this garden is predominantly white, but punctuated with these purple lupins, and the digitalis Dalmatian white featured quite heavily in this garden, alongside some Camasia leclinii again, and a lovely, beautiful, restful garden. And perhaps in direct contrast are these gladioli, very striking, and next to them are some tulips, so it's nice to see some tulips blooming, just to get some ideas on what we can plant for next spring in the borders. This nursery specialises in clematis. This was a magnificent stand. Nice to see clematis growing in a more prostrate way, used as sort of ground cover, which I would never think to do, but it looked really good, as well as growing in a more traditional way, climbing up pergolas and arches. And there were some beautiful varieties. This one around the arch looked quite like a kind of passion flower rather than a clematis, but all looked lovely. And one of our favourite exhibitors, David Austin Roses, who've been exhibiting here for many years. And this stand was stunning and of course smelt beautiful too. And here we've got Chandos Beauty, a lovely rose. And then there was a lot of the Desdemona roses, which we grow in our own garden. And this was growing right round the whole stand and looked absolutely stunning and smelled lovely too. Just an abundance of different roses. This one is Mary Berry. One here called Emily Bronte. I think that's a climber. And then round the bottom was Bring Me Sunshine, very bright yellow rose. And then the new Elizabeth Rose, which has just been introduced for this year, for the Jubilee. This is Gertrude Jekyll, which we're growing in our own garden as well. And this is a lovely one. This is called Phyllis Bide. I just love this one with the pink petals on the outside and the yellow undertones, a bit similar to Scarborough Fair, which we grow at home as well. And I think this one that Olivia's was just smelling is Mary Delaney. This rose is called Boscobel, a very old-fashioned looking rose, but the whole stand just looked incredible, and of course won a gold medal. Another lovely show garden featuring hostas, and then we headed to a garden called Mothers for Mothers Garden, and this was by Pollyanna Wilkinson. That she's a designer, young designer who Olivia really admires and absolutely loves her work. So we're really excited to see her garden. Beautiful colour palettes, lots of geums. Another plant that features heavily are cirsiums, and these lovely apricot coloured irises. The nice thing is all the gardens come with a leaflet, and in the leaflet are the plant names of all the plants that have been used in the garden. And then we were really fortunate enough to meet Pollyanna, so Olivia was thrilled to get a picture taken with her and have a chat with her. She was absolutely lovely. This garden by Andy Smith-Williams reimagines the front garden, and by removing traditional boundaries, street-long gardens can be created which can be used communally for socialising and growing. Lots of lovely light and airy planting, lots of grasses, lupins and crataegus trees, very nice. And lots more to see in the Great Pavilion. We then headed back outside again to look at more of the show gardens, and this one, the Blue Peter Garden, the message being don't treat soil like dirt. So it's all about encouraging us, and particularly children, to look after the soil. And this was a very interactive garden which allowed children to listen to the sound of soil decomposing in a compost heap. Also had this beautiful green roof for pollinators, so very interactive garden and lovely. And the next garden, the Perennial Garden, this is a garden all about love, quite a romantic garden, and probably of all the gardens the most traditional garden and the winner of the People's Choice, and you can see why. It was absolutely stunning. One of my favourites. I thought it was absolutely lovely, very romantic, lovely planting, very symmetrical, traditional garden that you can imagine having, and it wasn't kind of faddy but would stand the test of time. And the next garden was a garden by Andy Sturgeon, and this is the Mind Garden. The Mind Garden seeks to inspire us to connect with each other for the benefit of our mental health, and it featured these sort of rendered walls, interconnecting walls, and the planting was sort of featuring woodland planting and meadow naturalistic planting. Very nice planting. I think this is a garden that probably looked better when you were actually in it. Quite difficult to appreciate it as a member of the public looking at it from a distance, but this garden won a gold medal. And the next garden, the St Mungo's Putting Down Roots Garden, is all about helping people who've experienced homelessness to regain confidence and grow their skills and to rebuild their lives through the process of gardening. And the beautiful gardens keep on coming, but I won't talk about each one, otherwise this video will be a bit too long. another one of my favourite gardens. This garden is in a kind of Anthony Wainwright, father to the current chairman of Boodles, who travel around the world in 16 days. His mission was to buy diamonds, pearls and precious gemstones to help build his business. This garden celebrates his incredible endeavour with planting drawn from all corners of the world, creating a really global garden which offers a calm sanctuary to rest and reflect on the journey. I love this rippling water effect, it looks stunning, and combined with some of the planting, the Cornus controversa from East Asia and then the Acer Davidii from China, both look absolutely lovely. So we then just had a little mooch around the grounds and took in more of the atmosphere. It was a beautiful day and it's just really lovely to be there. And there's lots to see and do. We walked around some more of the stalls and this one was a lovely little tree house. We went up and it was nice to overlook all the people and people watch from up above. This is beautiful little interior that they'd done in this lovely little tree house. And we made our way back down the stairs and then looked around some more of the retail. There's some lovely items and things that you can buy and lots of lovely pots. We got lots of ideas for pots and took lots of leaflets just for future reference. And this was absolutely amazing. This was these kind of sculptures all made of wood by a chap called James Doran Webb, and some of them were just incredible. There were horses, there were bulls, there were monkeys, and this one of the birds flying up like big eagles, I think they were. So just lovely. And again, more pots and beautifully planted pots. This one agapanthus, and more pots still. So lots and lots of inspiration for what to put in containers to make them look really good. And very exciting, we were walking along and we got approached by somebody from the BBC who asked if Olivia would be interested in asking a question on the BBC coverage to Carol Klein. So Olivia just jumped at the chance. She was really excited and she did really well. She appeared, much to the surprise of all the family back home, on the TV that evening. So that was just the icing on the cake for what was a wonderful day at the Chelsea Flower Show. And this is us with our picture taken with Carol Klein and the BBC presenters. It was a wonderful day, and we've topped it all off with dinner at the Ivy. So all in all, a wonderful time. Thank you very much for watching, and join us again in the next video. Bye for now.